You know, Brett Gallman from Shock to You Drop has said of this film, Angst, it perhaps compares with the grit and grime of Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, only it's realized with a heightened style of giallo.
BodyBags, where horror lies.
Hey guys, Rob from Georgia with you, and welcome to week 287. It is theme week and it is serial killer week. And yes, you already know, we've decided to run with a 1983 film directed by Gerald, Kargl, Angst. And yeah, we're gonna have fun with this one. So let's just start off here. He's the director, Kargl. It's written by, or co-written, not only by Kargl, but co-written by Rudolph, who, okay, he co-wrote, he's a cinematographer, and he edited this thing. So he is really the technical driving force of this film. Kargl provides some vision, of course, he's the director, and together, along with Klaus Schultz, who's the composer, of course, you may know his name from Tangerine Dream. I do believe, I want to say he had a hand in composing the score for Manhunter, that first of the Lecter series. So you got those three, and of course the cast is not a big cast. Erwin, you may know him, of course he plays the psychopath, but you might know him from, I kind of put him up there behind me, Das Boot, perhaps one of the best World War II films I've ever seen, and his character in there is really fun to watch. But he was also, Erwin Leder was also in, he was an SS officer in Schindler's List, so that's interesting. But the rest of the cast, Sylvia, Ryder, who plays the daughter, and Edith Rosset plays the mother, and Rudolph Gotz plays the son. And there's your cast, really. I mean, there's some other people in this, but there's your cast. So, 1983, Angst, and, well, here is the cult epic release of the film. I'm hoping there's no glare or anything. Just make sure, move it around a little bit. And that is the slip. There's another look. Hopefully there's no glare. And it does come with a nice 40-page book. Now I thought when I ordered this thing, I thought I had already missed this deal because it's a few years in, that's been out now. But that 40-page book is still in there. So if you don't own it and you've thought about it, boy, you really need to grab it if it's something that you decide you want to pick up. But anyways, boy, where do I begin with this? This movie is, and it was based on the real life event, an extreme event, as the director Kargl refers to it, of Knisik, the Werner Knisik, right? He was this guy was messed up, man. This is back in, I think, in the 70s. It goes a little back before that, though. But he ends up doing like 10 years in prison. I believe he did kill somebody right before that, but he attacked his own mother, stabbed his own mother, and this guy had some serious issues going on. In fact, his grandmother, in order to try to wipe away the sins of the mother, actually put him in a seminary. And he ends up, let's just say it doesn't work out, ends up killing some animals and stuff, gets caught by the nuns or something, and so he's run out of there, and it is a sad story. And one of the beautiful things about this cult epics releases, you've got a really good interview with the director, you got a great interview with the cinematographer, and you've got a really good interview with Erwin Leder, who plays the psychopath, right? So, three really good interviews, plus a commentary track that's given by the director. Now, half it's in German, but subtitle, Well, the first half is in English, and then he just got tired of talking in English, and he just decided to roll right into German, and so the subtitles are there. But that is a fantastic, fantastic commentary to listen to. I've watched it 3 times now. I saw it once on Shudder, and then just recently I picked it up. And so I watched it once with the commentary, and then the other night, I think last night, I watched it one last time without the commentary, just to kind of, see it again. This movie is insane. It is incredible. It is just an absolute piece of genius. I don't even know where to begin on this thing. I don't really want to talk that long, but really the main event of the film. Now it's loosely based, but pretty well done on this real case. But in terms of this movie, how they show this event. He gets out of prison a little bit early, just like a sort of, he gets some time to basically go out and get his stuff in order, get a job and all that stuff. And instead what he does is he finds the house to invade, ends up killing 3 people, and in real life he actually kills the family's cat while he's at it. In this case we have a different scenario, but this is a movie that, spoilers, I'm not sure if you're spoiling anything or not. What you have here is the experience of filmmaking, the cinematography, the music, the director's vision. It is how they approach the mind. And Erwin Leiter was about as perfect as you are ever going to get to fill a role like this. And he, as it would happen, he actually grew up in an institution. Because his dad was a director of an institution. His parents were both into medicine, so he grew up, just building relationships, playing, I guess, as a kid with schizophrenics and those who were just seriously mentally ill. And so he got a first-hand look like normally people never, ever, ever get. And so that is on full display in this piece of acting, which is just absolutely insane. Now, the camera work of Rumnitsky is, I'm telling you, between the ropes, between the wire, the ropes that they had, the cranes that they utilized, and this metal ring thing that they actually put around Erwin Leiter so that the camera could go 360 around him, and it was attached up in such a way that it always got this view of him. And as he's, like, for instance, running through the woods or something, or even in the house, the camera, look, this is one of those movies where, and it got him into trouble too, because this movie did not make hardly anything. In fact, it was in the movie theaters for maybe a second, and then it was just like completely pulled in. It was just an epic disaster for the director. And fortunately, Cult Epics has found this, restored it, and now it's getting the attention that it deserves to get. But this camera work, man, how they do this. They even at a point had people hanging upside down with the camera, in order to get the right shot. But you're like, the word that's often said is tethered as a viewer to the psychopath as he finds this house. And I'm going to leave a lot. There's other things that are going on in the film that, if you're unaware of, that sort of lead up to this point. The house invasion is like the main piece. And but you're like, wherever he's going, man, you're tied to him, and you're not getting anywhere. You're there for the long haul. Unless you just get up, turn the movie off, and just walk out. You're there. And it's an interesting, man, I don't know if I've seen a movie like this since Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Like I said, I'm not this type of guy when it comes to this genre, but this movie, just the fact that I knew Erwin Leiter from Das Boot, this was my way into the film. He was actually, it's funny, he's the psychopath, but he's my security blanket in a way, because I know him as someone else. And so it's not as, if this guy was played as brilliantly as he's played by Leiter, by someone totally different that I never knew about, I would probably say I may not have even watched this movie. I might have just stayed away from it. But knowing Erwin Leiter from, you know, Das Boot again, I had that, you know, it sounds weird. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not, but so I checked it out, and man, I was so overwhelmed by just the approach the director took, the camera work, the music. There is, it's not, I mean, it's violent, and it's the type of violence that, I mean, at points it does turn your stomach, and it's revolting, and you don't want to have anything to do, or at least you ought not to want to have anything to do with it. This is not like throwing in a Friday the 13th or some stylized, glorified, some kind of horror film that we pop in all the time, and it's just like, I don't know, candy, I guess. This is a type of movie, man, that if you're watching this the same way that you watch other films, there's probably an issue going on, because this film, your normal reaction ought to be, what the freaking crap? This guy, I mean, because in the back of your mind you're thinking, there's a real guy who's in prison right now who did this, at least to the degree that they showed us via filmmaking. He, you know, I don't know, it's just, you know what I thought about? It's tough to compare this with any other film, but Black Christmas kept coming to my mind. Now that's 74, right? And that movie's always struck me because of the role of the psychopath in that film. Both him and the psychopath in Angst, they both work off this animalistic base instinct that is freaking scary as freaking crap, man. I mean, you can't reason with these people, man. They're going off on this idea, or not even an idea in a sense, that it's just instinct, it's pure instinct. And as far as in Angst, man, he's like, it's his own stumbling that ultimately gets him caught. Thank God he got caught, because if it's not for, you know, if it's not for some of the things that will happen, he would have rolled right onto the next family and right onto the next one. I mean, this guy was not going to stop. And it's funny because the director gets into this little conversation about the sort of the prison reform system that was going on in Germany at the time that allows this guy to actually get out for a bit, in order, because somehow they think he's reformed or something. I don't know. But this guy's the kind of guy that you don't want walking around in society. He is not going to change. I mean, and it's scary because the act is so random. It's so out of nowhere. And, you know, this family that gets hit, I mean, there's so many messages going on in this film, so many comments on the nature of man and who we are and how we react to those like him. I mean, there's just so much stuff to really think about and chew on. And the only one thing, I'm not going to really get into it, there is a role of a dog. There's a dog in this. It gets a lot of conversation, whether it's the interviews, the commentaries, they're just reviews outside of this film. The dog does come up for discussion, and I'll just kind of put my 2 cents in real quick. The dog, it seems as though like the dog acts, it's almost like he is the aspect of the audience we wish we could be, because, you know, as a viewer we're watching it, and like I said, we're literally tied to this guy and we're not going anywhere. But the dog seemingly has the ability to react in ways that we're not given as a protagonist, so to speak, as a viewer. And whether the dog is hiding underneath covers or actually reacting against the antagonist, ultimately following after the antagonist, it's just bizarre. But it's like, I don't know, it's weird. But there is something there to the reason why that dog. So anyways, week 287 again. It is, again, VHS82 apostrophe, and I hope you enjoyed the review. Hit the button, leave a comment. Remember, there's links below to the mini shots review, JP and Jeremy, Moodz' thoughts, the review that I cited from Brett Gallman. All that stuff is down below. So, man, enjoy the rest of theme week and all these videos based on serial killers. And man, we will see you later. As always, go Bills.